From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Cap. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It is Monday, the 22nd of May. And hey, we're just chugging along here. We're already halfway through the year. We're almost to the second half of the year. We're only a few days away from that. So, you know, pretty much this year has moved very quickly. So pretty much here we are. Here we are. Beautiful, beautiful day here in LA. I can't ask for anything better than that. But let's go ahead and get this show started. And let's talk about what happened last night. The Heat go up 3-0 and led from the start to finish, beating the Celtics 128-102. So pretty much last night you had yourself a very good game between two. Well, it wasn't a good game at all, because really what happened there is that the Heat just played some damn good team basketball yesterday. They have four guys who were undrafted on that team: Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Vincent, and also they have Duncan Robinson. And these guys, they're just ready. That's all it is. And we don't have to keep saying undrafted and things like that. These guys are just guys in the NBA. And it's a special thing because these guys literally show you that it does not matter where you come from. If you can ball, if you can play to a level, then you'll be able to be in this league. And that's exactly what these guys are doing right now. Caleb Martin had 18 points last night. Duncan Robinson had 22. These guys were off the bench last night with their effort. Vincent actually led the team in scoring last night. He scored 29 points. Gabe Vincent played for UC Santa Barbara as well, too. One of the better unsung teams in college basketball, and really worked his way into the situation. You guys have to understand, Vincent was a part of the team that played in the bubble as well, too. So he was on the finals team as well. And so pretty much he scored 29 last night. That was a big moment for him. They didn't need Jimmy Butler to have a Jimmy Butler type night. He had 16. Bam had 13. So it worked out. And then Max Strus, the other starter, who is a undrafted free agent, scored 10 points last night. So once again, it goes back to my analogy. If you get six guys in double figures, you're not going to lose the game. And that's exactly what happened last night. For the Celtics, on the other hand, they were absolutely dreadful. They had three guys in double figures to it. And, you know, two usual suspects, Tatum and Brown, but 14 and 12 points is not going to do it. Al Horford, Smart, and White, they only combined for 25 points last night as a group. And then they got 12 points from Grant Williams off the bench. They got 11 from Cornette and Pritchard. They got 12. Those were junk minutes. Those were junk points from Cornette and Pritchard. But, you know, they had five guys in double figures last night, but they had five guys who barely got over 10 points. So pretty much it's not the same when that happens. So pretty much what happens here is that the Celtics are now on life support. They are literally a game away from being out of the playoffs, and possibly this being the biggest upset in all of NBA playoff history, in my opinion, because you have to understand that the New York Knicks had to win it in 6 when they beat the Pacers. The Miami Heat are about to sweep the Boston Celtics. So that is huge. But I told you guys this from day one. This team was not your average 8 seed, and the level of disrespect that they had for Miami to start this playoff was absolutely just mind-blowing. Now the amount of love that they're getting is absolutely mind-blowing. But all in all, I knew this Heat team was dangerous. I knew that they had what it took to be in a position like this. And Boston is really catching all of us by surprise because this team played so consistently well the whole season. But they had a lot of hiccups here, and they had a lot of moments where you question this team as well, too. And all those moments of questioning this team is now falling into place. So it's just it just doesn't feel right that if the ride ends here, it ends this way. But it looks more than likely that's going to happen on Tuesday night. But this could be something that's a little different this year because being down 3-0 is pretty much like the end of the series. But I can go back and look at a great Boston franchise about 20 years ago beat the Titans of baseball at the time, the New York Yankees, and they were able to get themselves a 4-3 win 4 in a row. And it took one big comeback in the game that should have been the final game of the season. And then they were able to finish that series as well, too. That's baseball. Hockey, they've done it about 10 times. So coming back from 3-0 isn't impossible. But it just hasn't been done in the NBA. 0 for 149. Will this record stay pat? Because when you start throwing records out there, that's when you say, we got a chance. You think we got a chance? So Boston possibly could get all this fixed and find themselves possibly on what is it, Saturday back in Miami, maybe, or but dreaming. That's all I can say. Dreaming, because that's exactly what that is. You know what I mean? But if you want it, then you can go get it. That's all I'm saying, Celtics. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move forward. Let's talk about the Lakers, the state of the Lakers. And you know that this isn't a good time for me to talk because the Lakers sitting up in here in game 4, down 3-0. Jamal Murray had one of the greatest first halves a guy could ever have on Saturday night. He dropped 30 points, was 11 for 13 as well, too. Then came back in the second half. He didn't play that great in the second half. He wound up going 15 for 29 for the rest of the game. So he had one great half, and then he had a half that he kind of wanted to forget about. But those 7 points were some of the biggest points in the game in the second half because it literally put the Lakers away. The Lakers were able to keep Jokic in check until the fourth quarter. Jokic was able to get 24 points, but not a triple-double. He had 6 rebounds and 8 assists, so they held that in check. But the difference in the game, once again, KCP, 17 points for KCP, 17, 3, and had 2 steals as well, too. But he hit 4 critical three-pointers that were all right on time when they needed those three-pointers. They also got 14 from MPJ, who added in his 4 three-pointers. But I would say that my player of the game was definitely Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. This was all those points were needed, and these were the points that literally put them over the top. Once again, they got 5 guys to score in double figures, but they got 5 guys to score in double figures 14 or better. And this wound up getting these guys themselves a very, very strong win against the Lakers to go ahead and really take control of this series. The Lakers only have 4 in double figures. The Lakers really did not have anybody show up to the party for them other than LeBron and AD and Reeves and Hachimura. You needed a little bit more from Lonnie Walker. He had 9 points. It's okay. But D'Angelo Russell has absolutely just went MIA. And Vanderbilt just hasn't been a big time productive offensive player pretty much the whole time he's been with the team. He's more of a defensive guy, as is Dennis Schroeder. The Achilles is killing him, so he only had 5 points. And then after that, we didn't get much from the bench. So the Lakers just, all in all, they're just in a state right now where they're a tired team, but at the end of the day, let's keep it real. Denver's just the better team. And Denver is in this position right now because they earned to be in this position. Denver has played consistent basketball all season. Denver wasn't a team that lost 5-6 in a row and, came back around and, won 10 in a row and then they're back in the mix. They were at the second or first playoff spot all season long. And by the time we got to December and they started really rolling, then it pretty much was the Nuggets and everybody else in the Western Conference. The Western Conference gave everybody the idea that it was going to be a really, really tough playoff, even myself, because you had seeds 3 through 10 literally a game and a half apart, or 2 games apart, 3 games apart. And that was just a crazy log jam in itself. But the only team that wasn't dealing with the log jam was the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. And their log jam was kind of with each other because they were 1 and 2 behind each other all season long. And then Denver went ahead and stepped on the gas in January and jumped ahead of everybody and pretty much made themselves the team to beat in the Western Conference. But with national media and the way that the talking heads work, the Nuggets were never going to get that respect because the Nuggets were in the same position as other number 1 seeds in the Western Conference over the last few years who failed. They were thinking about the Suns. They were thinking about thinking about the Suns. They were thinking about the Jazz a few years back who got beaten the first round, who got beaten the second round pretty easily. So, you got a lot of things that worked out very well in that regard. So Denver is a team that you can't even get pissed off about as a Laker fan because they're doing this. It's because they're supposed to be doing this at the end of the day. The Lakers were never entitled to go to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, they were never entitled to go to the NBA Finals just because they're the Lakers. They had to earn it. And the Laker fans have to understand that they were the 7th seed. The Lakers are not a 3 seed. They're not a 1 seed. They're not a 2 seed. They're the 7th seed. They literally weren't even supposed to be this far in the playoffs because when you look at it, if the Grizzlies don't have the distraction with Ja Morant, they most likely would have been able to get to this point of the playoffs playing the Denver Nuggets. So all in all, it's been a great season because the season went from being a season that was about to be thrown away to a season where it gave Laker fans hope that they could possibly be winning number 18. I know a lot of people feel like they're letting that LeBron is probably, is let down or, once again he fails. But LeBron James in his 20th year of basketball, the way that he played and the way that he broke that scoring record, the way that he stayed, the way that he came back from a pretty much a season-ending injury, LeBron James has to be commended. This might have been his toughest season ever, and he made it work. So, there's just a lot of things that the Lakers have to look at the end of the day. Is this the end of the road? Quite possibly. But all in all, if this is the last game of the season, give them hell. Play with your hearts, man. Play with your hearts on your sleeves. Don't go out there and just get blown out because that's the last thing that fans will remember. So if I was the Lakers, I would try to make sure if we're going to be getting put out soon, it's not going to be at home. Okay. They're going to have to beat us in Denver. So I hope the Lakers have that mentality going into tonight's game. I'm actually picking them to win tonight's game as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And we'll go from there. And like LeBron said the other day, 1 game at a time. You got to remember, the winner has to win 4. You don't win the series 3-0. You win the series when you get to the 4th win. So the Lakers, if they have that mentality going into tonight's game and tell themselves that we take it 1 game at a time, but know that we are with our backs against the wall, then we'll see how it goes. But we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about our next topic, which is a fun one. It's going to be about one of the greats. Carmelo Anthony is finally retiring. Carmelo Anthony hangs it up after Well, they would say 20 seasons, but he's only played sparingly in the last few years. So Melo's career was more about 17, 18 years in full-time playing. But Carmelo Anthony is going to go down as one of the greatest scorers of the 21st century. And he's going to go down as a guy that did motivate a lot of the young players that are in the league today. The fallback, the step back, all that good stuff. The different offensive movements that he had. It's just this guy was a total scorer, straight up. And I think that Carmelo Anthony didn't get enough love. I think that they didn't give him enough love. I think that he was right there, toe to toe with LeBron James for at least the first 10 years of their career. Then when he went to New York, that was huge for Carmelo's brand because it made Carmelo an even bigger basketball player because it was fun playing in Denver, but it wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same. He got to New York City and established himself as a uber NBA star, pretty much second to LeBron for years and years and years. But like the poor man version of LeBron because his team didn't win as much. Even though when he came to the league, his team went to the playoffs first, and then he even got more votes for the playoff for the All-Star game as well too. In their first 5 years, if you really look at it, Carmelo, you could possibly say he was the better player because he was able to play with great teammates. He was able to learn how to win a little bit quicker than LeBron did in the league as well. And he used to really make LeBron look bad when they used to play these Denver and Cleveland games. I still think Cleveland has the winning record over the Cavaliers as well too. But they never got to the dream NBA final of the Nuggets and the Cavs that the NBA dreamed up of when they were putting these two against each other in a Bird Magic type of feel. And I just feel like with Carmelo, he's never going to get out the shadow of, LeBron than him. For LeBron, there's the Carmelo Anthony. That's how it is in all these when you talk about all the great guys. For Michael Jordan, then there's Charles Barkley. That's it. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. But Carmelo is a special guy. He's a special player. He was one of my favorites. We graduated the same year, 2002. And, it's just it's not a sad day, but it's a day where you say to yourself, man, I'm old. And you look at the fact that Carmelo Anthony came into this league 20 years ago and it's over. And he did 20 years. That's what makes it so much incredible. And he lived the dreams. He lived the dream that he dreamt. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these prodigies, a lot of these guys that come out of high school, they come to the NBA, they come out of college first year, they have these expectations of being these great players and being these all-time greats and legends. But there's only a few that really can go ahead and say they actually did that. Carmelo Anthony is one of those guys that actually did that. So with that, happy trails to Carmelo Anthony on a job well done, great career, and brother, enjoy retirement. And I know you're going to be doing some big, powerful things within the community, and you got yourself a pretty A1 student there with your son as well too, who's probably going to be another guy who's going to be a big time NBA story, big time NBA player, all that good stuff. So once again, happy trails to Carmelo Anthony. Happy that you were able to retire and not be a guy that got forced out of the game. You left on your own. I know that he was still getting calls to come play for certain teams, but he wasn't playing for any teams that weren't chasing championships this year. So, hey, it is what it is. And once again, one last time, happy trails, Carmelo. Enjoy retirement. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the controversy. Well, I didn't see it as no controversy, but people are always going to see things as controversy if it doesn't go their way. But Devin Haney wins unanimously on Saturday against Lomachenko, one of the greatest Eastern European small weight fighters of all time, if not the greatest Eastern European small weight fighter of all time. Devin went in there and absolutely had himself a life and death situation where it was total war in that fight for 12 rounds straight. This fight could go either way, but I scored it 116, 112 to Devin Haney. I felt like Devin Haney won the rounds that were very close. I felt that Devin Haney established his jab. The body work was the difference in the fight as well, too. And I just really felt like Devin Haney was the more powerful boxer as well. I know a lot of people probably didn't see that, but if you look at the fight closely, you see that Loma was on his bike a lot. He was kind of running around the ring a little bit every time he got hit with a body shot. Devin was sticking the jab out there pretty nicely as well, too. And then for every time Lomachenko was throwing something, Devin had a counter for that as well, too. So that's what worked out very well. But in the significant rounds where it's like because some of these rounds were really hard to judge, but in the significant rounds where it's like, okay, that guy absolutely won the round, it was Loma. I won't even front and act like it wasn't, because the one round that wound up being like that, it was only one round. It was round 11. And round 11, it was very significant because Loma landed 20 out of 50 shots in the round himself. So that was a pretty good, moment for Loma, but that doesn't win you the fight. You know what I mean? I felt like Loma really did not get started until about the 7th round, and that's what really messed him up in this fight, to be honest with you. But all in all, I just think that Devin Haney just gets the short end of the stick because he's not the most lovable guy, even though he hasn't done anything to be a guy that you hate. It's just that the fact that Devin Haney is a guy that's in an era where he's not the creme de la creme. He's not the creme de la creme to, these boxing experts, what they want out of a fighter. Devin Haney is a guy who is self-made. He didn't need the help, as much help as these other young boxers needed to get to where he is at today. Him and his father have a plan, and pretty much that plan has been executed. Now Devin Haney is coming out of his second fight as the undisputed champion, then defended those belts. Devin Haney did everything that was asked of him to get those belts. He was asked to come over to Australia. He won those belts convincingly. Then he had to go back to Australia and defend these belts and won convincingly. Then he fights against Lomachenko, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy that a lot of people have avoided over the years. Even Tank Davis, the cash cow of the lightweight division, had an opportunity to fight Lomachenko years ago, said no. But Devin Haney has been chasing Lomachenko since he was 21 years old. And they told him that he was too young. Then they told him, go get a belt. Then they told him, you know what? We just don't want to do the damn fight just because we don't want to fight you. And then when it was time for Devin to say yay or nay, he said yes, because he wanted to fight this guy. He wanted to make sure that guy knew that he was never scared of him and that he wouldn't do the same thing that he did and make excuses to the point to where, we don't have to have a fight. He made sure that they got that fight on, and they got that fight on Saturday, and it was a great fight. And pretty much you could judge it any way that you want to. You could say Lomachenko won. You could say that Devin won. But at the end of the day, the only opinions that matter were the three guys that were sitting ringside that are hired to judge the fight. And they judged the fight with two judges going 115, 113, and one judge going 116, 112, just like me, all in favor of, and still, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin the Dream Haney. So at the end of the day, what I said doesn't mean anything, and what people who have their scorecards, it meant nothing either. It only scorecards that matter were the three that were sitting ringside that got paid to do it. It's a game of opinions. People are going to be always offended when their guy doesn't win, or when they feel like they've watched the fight and they've given it to the other guy. At the end of the day, we're not in control of who's going to win the fight. That's up to those three guys right there. And trying to hold them accountable on Monday about a decision that they made is pretty damn dumb, to be honest with you. I think it's best to just go ahead and move on with your life because they're not changing anything. And why would you get so mad about a fight that was so close? Seriously. Now, I understand if it's 117, 111, 118, 110, things of that nature, but 115, 113, it was a round away from being a draw. And also, there was a lot of controversy about scoring round 10 to Devin Haney from Moretti. Well, the thing is, if he would have scored it 10-9 to Lomachenko, guess what? His fight card still says 115, 113. So he won convincingly to those three judges. So there's no need to sit up in here and get in your feelings, try to say that boxing is corrupt and this, that, and the third. It's not corrupt when the fight's that close. It's just your guy didn't win. And so, do you get a rematch? Probably not, because it's an undisputed situation and you made people wait. You could have did this fight 4 years ago, actually won the fight, Lomachenko, and then you wouldn't even have to be sitting here talking about this. But I feel like a lot of people feel bad for Lomachenko because the way the network sold the fight. They sold the fight and the idea that this was going to be a big Lomachenko upset, and it didn't happen. And so pretty much to suffice him and to make him feel better about himself, they made sure that they had this nonstop coverage of a controversial decision. But it wasn't a controversial decision at the end of the day. Max Kellerman even had to fight 50-50. He had it 115, 113 to Lomachenko. So it was no walk in the park. It was no landslide. It was none of that. So where's the robbery at? There is no robbery here. It's just that the fact that the guy that you wanted to lose didn't lose. That's all it is. And it happens. So now what we do is we move on to the next fight and just appreciate the fact that we just got to see the fight of the year, because that's exactly what is going to wind up winning is the fight of the year, because pretty much people are going to talk about this fight for the next 20 years. It's that simple. It's in the regards of Leonard and Hagler and, you know, I would put it in the Sweepy Chavez lane, because that fight was one-sided and that was a bad decision. But all in all, I think that fight fans did enjoy what they saw. Fight fans just didn't enjoy the fact that the way that the judges judged the fight. But that's how it is, man. That's how it is when you leave fights up in the judges' hands. This is why we always love for fights to be taken care of by the fighter. So pretty much with that, that's going to be our first segment of the day. And when we get back, we're going to jump into baseball. And we got the Blue Crew Daily for you, and we got MLB Monday Night as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Captain.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Captain, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, so we are back. We are back. I'm just over here answering my stupid question. And what's called? I got everybody. My man Harrison Rito hit me up right now saying that I converted him into a Jake Hayner guy. You guys, everybody knows how big I am on Jake Hayner, and I keep saying if Derek Carr gets hurt or something happens to Derek Carr where he pisses off the coach, he's not getting his job back. This ain't you're not in Vegas no more, buddy. You don't have Mariota or some or what is it, Reisman? Peterman. Yeah, no more Peterman. No more none of that, Derek. You know, you got a guy who's probably going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league come the next 6-7 years, man. So let's go ahead and jump into baseball, man. You guys know I've been loving me some baseball this year. I've been loving the game, the good old pastime, man. Blue Crew Dodgers lose first series in weeks, dropping 3 out of 4 in St. Louis. Dodgers start 3-game series tonight in Atlanta against the East leading Braves. So this is going to be a pretty fun game tonight because you got both these teams really looking pretty Octoberish already. So you know you got Gavin Stone, the young hurler for the Dodgers. Guy is a really good pitcher. I like him a lot. I think that he kind of had a bad little game. He kind of had a rough little start to his career, but that's okay. That's okay. The Dodgers wound up winning that game that day as well, too. You know, they went against Philadelphia. That game was wild because they had to go up. They had to really come back in that game. That was a day game, too. So you got a pitcher that sits up. He wasn't good. Okay, let's keep it real. He threw 4 innings and he gave 5 runs, 4 earned, gave 8 hits as well, 2 struck out, 2 walked 2, only struck out 1. I think the nerves were there. That's the whole thing. I think he was really nervous in that game. But tonight, they're on the road. He knows now that he's going to be established as one of the starting pitchers for the next month or so because, Dustin May's out. And so pretty much now you have to step up to the plate. That was a spot start for him. That was just, he throw him in there real quick. Let's see what the kid got. And he just was not. It just was one of those days. Dodger Stadium, midday game on a Wednesday. Very unusual. You don't have a big crowd there. So you know what? Sometimes the nerves are a little bit more bigger. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the nerves are actually good when you got the big crowd and all that good stuff. Then you want to make sure that you don't mess up in front of all these people. Now, when you're pitching in front of pretty much half of a crowd that would supply Dodger Stadium, you might not have the urgency to be great that day, because you're thinking that everything might just fall into place because nobody's here. But damn, you're going against a team that had just got double-digit games back-to-back rained on them. So they were ready to tear up a brand new pitcher. So it happens. So pretty much he gets to bounce back today. He's going against the old vet, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton is a good pitcher. Charlie Morton pitched for the Pirates, pitched for the world champion Astros in 2017 as well. He also went over to Tampa Bay for a few seasons. Now finds himself in Atlanta. See, he came up pretty good after leaving old Pittsburgh because he wasn't good in Pittsburgh. I couldn't stand on Charlie Morton in Pittsburgh. Boy, I'm telling you. But he went to Houston and things changed when he went to Houston. That's all I can say. And he's been a better pitcher since. So pretty much today, this is a good little matchup that we have here. I think that this game actually can stay under, to be honest with you. I think that's exactly where it's headed to. The Dodgers, though, they could be better. Losing that 3 out of 4 was a little bit of a gut check. And you look up, the Braves have won their last 3 out of 4, and they won their series over the weekend over the Mariners. But shout out to the Mariners. Saturday, they took care of business for me as the dog of the day. They couldn't take care of business for us as the dog of the day for the dog bet us of the day. But for my clients on Saturday, took care of business. So pretty much odes to them. But I'm looking at the stats right now, and Freddie Freeman back at 321 a game. That's absolutely remarkable. Freddie has knocked in 28 RBIs this year, 8 home runs as well. He has 61 hits on the year, and that's one of the top 5 in the MLB as well. You got Mookie Betts, who's batting 250 right now. He has 43 hits on the year, and he's actually hit out 10 balls out the park. But Max Muncy's been the man. Even though his batting average is only 210, Max Muncy still has hit 15 home runs this year to 33 RBIs, and he got 30 hits on the year. That's crazy. So half of his hits have been home runs this year. That's nuts. But I just keep looking at Outman's stats. Now, Outman, he's been really strikeout prone. Yeah, he's been bad when it comes to that. 59 strikeouts on the year, but Muncy 51. But his hitting is up there with anybody. 9 home runs on the year, 28 RBIs, 40 hits on the season as well, too. And he's batting 256 at this point as well. But he's going to just get better as the season goes. Now, guys that do need to step it up, Trace Thompson, batting 109, not good at all. Austin Burns, we know that he doesn't play that much, so you can't put too much on him. So pretty much the Dodgers at this point right now, they're playing pretty good baseball, but they know that they can be better. And they're one of the better teams when it comes to home runs as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out today. They're going to have to really deal with this Atlanta lineup that does have some pretty well-rounded hitters their damn selves. You know what I mean? But Matt Olson has been struggling this year. 65 strikeouts this year, 244 batting average, though, this season. But he's hit 13 home runs. So that's the key guy today that the Dodgers need to try to shut down. Also, in this game, they got Albies. Albies has his 10 home runs on the season and 31 RBIs. He's another guy that you have to keep in check. He's batting 257, but Arcia is the guy that is really that they have to look out for. Arcia is batting 310, so he's looking to get on base. And Acuna, 344 on the season as well. He's absolutely a monster and top 5 MVP candidate right now as well, too. So this is a great series. This is between 2 of the better teams in the National League. So expect some really good action today between the Braves and the Dodgers. And I really do expect a great series to happen. And this is a good example of this is the series that we need to kind of pay attention to, because if everything holds up the way that it does, this does decide who the number 1 team in the National League is going to be. Right now, it's the Braves by, I would say, half a game, because they're 29-17. The Dodgers are 29-19. So right now, they are considered the best team in the National League. So after we get done with the series, we'll determine who the best team in the National League truly is. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and get into MLB Monday Night. We got 12 games tonight. We got 12 really good games tonight. I set you guys up nicely as well, too. We got the PrimeTime PK6, and then we got the Late PK4 as well, too, tonight. We got some great interleague matchups, but we got a lot of division matchups tonight as well, too. And we got ourselves some pretty good matchups between teams that are it's not interleague, but I would say that it's non-division games that we have in place for some of these leagues as well, too. But up first, let's go ahead and jump into our first game, and that's going to be a good old rivalry between the teams in red, the Cardinals and the Reds. These teams go all the way back to the 1800s on how long they've been playing. You know, when the St. Louis Cardinals was the Cardinals and the Reds was the Red Stockings. So pretty much you got 2 teams that are very historic in the MLB. They have a lot of history here. And, you know, this was the first teams to ever play on TV as well, too. So they got a lot of history to this game. So in this one tonight, you have a Cardinals team coming off of probably their best series of the season, beating the Dodgers 3 out of 4. They moved their record to 21-27. They were the worst team in the National League. They've moved themselves all the way up to now the middle of the pack, pretty much. They were down there. The Colorado was better than St. Louis right now. Now, Cincinnati's second to last in the National League right now, 19-27 on the season, but they've had significant wins all season, though. Let's keep it real. Cincinnati's been a lot better than what you would think, and I just really love the fact that they have these young arms in Ashcraft and Hunter Green. These guys are good. And Lodolo. These guys are really good. And then you got some pretty good hitters in India. And then you got Fraley as well, too. Very good hitter. These guys can really crack. They can really play. They're really exciting. I think that they got some good things going on. They're building here. One thing that they have been able to do pretty good this season is batting average. They're 17th in that category. So that's something to really go ahead and measure and look at. Now, you got the Cardinals who, like I said, have moved themselves up a bit. They're in better shape than they were last week after that 3 out of 4 series win over the Dodgers. So, this team really has picked it up this month, because after losing 8 in a row, this team has absolutely went off. Okay. This team is wound up winning 11 out of their last 14. And so that's really good, because they hadn't won a series in a month, and they've won their last 4 in a row. And they've gotten good win. They've beaten really good teams in this time. Boston, who became a little bit, who really turned it on the last month or so as well. They've swept them. Then they came back around and beat Milwaukee. Then they get 3 out of 4 for the Dodgers. They take 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. They took 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers. So all this is working out pretty good after they came out of that losing that Detroit series. So since May 7th, this has been a really good team. And it's really because the pitching has stepped up. So pretty much tonight, I think that what it comes down to is that, the Cardinals are probably going to be seen as a team that should walk up in here and bust up the Reds. But I don't see that happening. The Reds seem to be pretty good on Mondays, and that's where I'm taking them. Even though the Reds have lost the last 4 in a row, I still think today I can trust them. So I'm going to take them as my dog of the day, plus 165 Reds, to go ahead and cash that ticket for it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, so up next, we have ourselves another really good divisional matchup, and that's going to be between the Rays and the Jays. The Jays coming into this one. The Jays got a little slapped up this weekend. Let's keep it real. Baltimore, 31-16. They are only 3 games out of the best record in baseball. They got the second best record in baseball as we speak. And then the Yankees are right behind them. The Yankees were just last place about a week and a half ago. Now the Yankees find themselves in the second wild card spot. But you have the Blue Jays, who kind of fell apart. They were in this spot as well, too. You have Blue Jays, Orioles, and the Red Sox all in that spot. Now, the Blue Jays got swept this weekend by Baltimore. They've lost their last 6 out of 7 games as well, too, after winning 3 in a row. But they've had a tough month this month. Let's not act like they haven't. This team is really, really not – they're 7-12. So they're kind of going left a little bit. And that's kind of like, they're too good to be like this. And a lot of these losses are coming from division foes as well, too. When I look at it, they got swept by Boston. Then they dropped 2 out of 3 to – they dropped 3 out of 4 to the Yankees. Then they get swept by Baltimore. So when you look at their division situation right now, it's not that good. This team is sat up in here, and they really – have right now, they're only 1-10 in their last 11 division games. So this is something that they're really going to have to look at, because right now they have 4 games that are in Tampa Bay this week. And then they have 3 games that are in Minnesota. So they don't have a day off this week. So they're going to have to really suck it up and really bite down and become and try to get themselves back into the mix, because this isn't good. I don't like this. This Blue Jays team is a really good team, and they're finding themselves in a position that if they don't get it together, they may not this great team may not play to its absolute full potential, because now you have Houston making their move. Houston was really bad to start the season. Now they've won their last 7 in a row, and they've actually won their last 10 out of 11 games after losing 3 in a row. So, this team, they start off the month losing 5 out of 7. Since then, they've only lost once since May 9th. So this team is playing really good baseball right now, and they're coming into their own as well, too. And when you look at it, you feel bad for the Rangers because here comes the Astros. And the Astros look like they will be catching them by the end of this week. But as we already knew, the MLB is still so early in the season. So you can't expect these teams to just stay in first place all year. It's not the NBA. It's not the NFL. If you consistently lose, then you're going to lose ground in the standings. And that's why you have teams like the Yankees now in third place. The Yankees were in last place for 2 weeks. Now they're in first. Now they're in third place. You look at Kansas City, they've been in the same position they've been in all season. Same thing goes with Oakland. But then you look at teams like, say, Arizona. Arizona started off the season so well. They haven't been that great either. But for them, what works out is San Diego and San Francisco are so bad. So they're still in their same spot. Now, the Central, on the other hand, we saw Pittsburgh break out to having the best record in the National League. Now they're sitting in second place, 24-22. They're very close to being a team up under 500. So baseball is a very, very tricky sport. And that's what a lot of us have to understand when it comes down to baseball. So pretty much Rays and Jays tonight. What I like about this one is that we got 2 of the better teams in the MLB going at it. And I think that the over is the play in this spot. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll just go from there. All right, so let's move forward to our next game, which is going to be the Astros and the Brewers. This used to be a National League Central game, but, Astros been gone for a while now. Astros been going out the National League for about 20 years now. Just whenever we got the Nationals here, that's when everything switched, right? Was it Nationals? I'm trying to remember who was the last. Yeah, when the Nationals moved, everything shifted. So they moved. The Nationals were already an Eastern team, but they moved the Astros to the American League because you didn't have enough teams in the American League. And they needed that the Astros to fill out the AL West. The AL West used to only be the Rangers, the A's, the Angels, and the Mariners. And they needed to have the 5th team because they used to have 6 teams in the NL Central. So there goes a little history lesson for you guys right there. So pretty much tonight, we got the Astros coming in with their he's a little inconsistent this year, but still a pretty good pitcher. Then Corbin Burns, former Cy Young winner, is on the mound tonight for the Brewers. Their ace. So it's ace on ace tonight because you got Christian Javier, who's 4-1 on the season, 59 strikeouts over 12 walks. Last game, he only gave up a run, struck out 5, walked 2. This was against the Cubbies. So he's been pretty good the last few games. Also struck out 11 on May 10th against the Angels. Now, Burns, on the other hand, Burns has picked it up very well, even though he gave up 3 runs in the last game. And they did lose that game. It's really not on him because he didn't get the run support that he was supposed to get in that spot. But the game prior to that against Kansas City, he absolutely was a gem. He went ahead and struck out 7 in that spot that day and only gave up 2 hits. So he's looking pretty good against the National League, against the American League at this point. He played against Seattle. He's played against Boston, and he's only given up 5 runs in total to the 6 runs in total to the American League. And he's actually, in those games, he's actually struck out 13. So he seems to be a little bit more better against this portion of the league. But Burns is a great pitcher. He just doesn't get the run support that great pitchers are supposed to get. It's like that with a lot of great pitchers. So pretty much with that tonight, I think what happens here is I'm going to be a little expensive here, and I'm going to take the Brewers to actually keep this game close with the plus 1.5. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when I get back, we'll get to talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into Talking Tickets. And Talking Tickets, we have ourselves some of the best, we got some good games today. That's all I can say. We got some good games today. So pretty much we have this here. We have the PrimeTime PK6, 64-1. Guardians money line minus 125. Reds dog of the day plus 165. Over 9, Jays and the Rays. The under 9.5 with the Dodgers and the Braves today. The Brewers minus 170 plus 1.5. And then we end up with the Twins tonight going against the Giants with the plus 135. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. 64-1 ticket, and we move forward from there. We have ourselves the 18-1 late pick 4. I got the under 8.5 with the Tigers and the Royals tonight. We also have the Marlins minus 120 tonight as well, too. That should be a really good game tonight as well, too, in Colorado. You guys already know the two teams that came to the league in 1993. Yes, in 1993, the Marlins and the Rockies. It was a beautiful, beautiful year that year when they got here in 1993. It's always fun. But Marlins and Rockies, two teams that came into the league together. Somewhat, I guess we could laugh and say that reignite their rivalry for this year. So I like the Marlins today with the minus 120. Then we got the Angels tonight at the Big A. I like them with the minus 1.5 plus 165. Disregard the money line portion as well, too. It's not money line. It's the run line. And then we have the over 8 A's and Mariners. And there it is. There it is for baseball. And then we end up with the West Coast with the Western Conference Finals and Game 3 bets, and this one is going to be the Lakers money line minus 145. Then we got the Lakers minus 2 first half, and then we have the over 57.5 first quarter. So pretty much there it is. There it is. And with that, that's going to be Talking Tickets, and that's going to be our show for today. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best. And with that, as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.